Hi, I'm Panda Hershey, and I use astrology to help entrepreneurs and their teams thrive in their businesses and their personal lives because it is absolutely possible. Welcome to the October 1st Coffee and Charts call, where we talk about how we are in a major transition time over the next 2 weeks. If you don't listen to anything else, just know that by this Friday, October 4th, know what you are committing yourself to or putting your heart into because it needs to be something that you absolutely care about over the long term. Listen to our conversation so you understand why this is and what to do day by day, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, you guys. It is wow, I can't believe we got here. Like it felt like such a journey to get to this point. There was just so much going on. And when back in August, when we were all trying to figure out what we were good at and how to make it better, and we got stuck. Are we ever going to get through this? How am I ever going to get my life to the next level if this stuff is going on? And hopefully at this point, there's some clarity about, okay, something I've got a grip on now, something I've kind of figured out. I know what I need to do. And yeah, it's going to be work, but I can I can make progress on this. Anybody? Yes. Okay. Great. And it's just in time because now we are going to be in this major shift over the next 2 weeks of kind of working on ourselves and figuring out what we need, and now working with others to level up. And I hope you guys can feel that energy in your life. And we're going to, nothing will ever turn out the way we expect. And that's all okay, because sometimes it's, as one of my coaches says, it's this or something better. So I love that one. And I have been invoking that quite a bit. So let's get going. Chloe, it's your first time. Welcome. I'm going to back this way up.
Happy to be here.
And so let me just orient you. We usually do this on Wednesday mornings, but I am leaving for Disneyland today with to have a girls' trip that has been planned for almost a year with my daughters and my married daughter who just came back from Versailles. There you go. I know, right? And so I can't do it tomorrow because I want to be fully present for them. But the way this works is this is a bland natal chart just for like what is happening at noon in Berkeley, because that's where I'm located. And you will watch the planets move in this general direction. They move in a counterclockwise direction, except when they're going retrograde. And that's when they move in this direction. And it's just like a physics thing. If you've ever gone to the racetrack, the horses run in one direction. But if you're looking from the stands, when they're on one side of the field, it looks like they're running like right to left. And then when they run in front of you, they're running from left to right, but they're still moving in the same direction. It's that same principle. Does that make sense? So, some key things to pay attention to. This little guy here in red is Mars. We'll be paying attention to him. This is the moon in the light blue, Sun and Mercury, who had a busy day yesterday in terms of like bouncing around between conversations or like hooking up with people to talk. That's because those two planets, Mercury and the Sun, were crossing over each other. So that is what brings intensity into our lives, is when two planets or more all get together in one spot. So, and then there are just all these other planets, and I'll point them out as we go along, but just knowing that they move in this direction and some move faster than others is helpful. So here we are today, and I talked about us being at this tipping point that we'll talk about over the next 2 weeks. But if feelings have been escalating for you, and I think we can all see them in the world, it is because this Mars in Cancer energy is now moving from the surf. If you've worked with me at all, you know that the early degrees are kind of surface level stuff. Oh, well, like that's annoying or that's really exciting. Let's just see where it goes. But then as it builds, it gets deeper and deeper and more meaningful. And here we are at like 15 degrees right now, halfway through. It's like, okay, this is meaningful, but it's not like tearing me apart yet. And it's going to get there. And so this is something that we'll be talking about more. But if you have been feeling that, yes, 100%, and we're going to talk about this. If you don't actively de-escalate, if you do not decide for yourself that this is something is not worth my time and energy in the long run, and we all get to decide what our own long run is, then it is something that you will put your heart into for 7 months. So just that's something to just consider. And I've been writing about it, but you can probably envision, unfortunately, in the world, how if we don't seriously take steps, this is something that we will deal with for 7 months. So, and there will be more of that to come. This also means you can get excited about something, know that something is absolutely on your path, in your purpose to take care of, because stuff is happening. You're trying to get somewhere and you're going to not let go and not let something slip and like make sure it comes along with you. So there's two sides to that. Okay, let's get going. So it's kind of quiet. It's time to focus on those Mars feelings because on the 4th is when this portal opens. And when after this day, pretty much, you will decide, you will have decided what's important for you. Any litigation, for example, that seems easy. That is not resolved by this point. It is basically going to be with you until, or some like ripple effect of it until at least until late February, because that is when Mars will come back to this spot and hang out there for like a week. And then there will be final resolution. But just know that you have still a few days to really contemplate this. What are you committed to? And the world gets to do this as well. Let's keep going. On the 6th, Mercury is opposite Chiron. Now, we talked about this way back in like April, where you were trying to bring something to people's attention. It was like a real personal effort to do this. And now we're at the other side. It's 6 months later, just about, and being able to be in discussion with someone and trying to bring something to someone's attention, you may end up with some sort of surprise in terms of, oh, wow, this person has like come around to like getting my way of thinking. And if you're in a business and like people are finally ready to like deal with what it is you've been trying to tell them all along, that can be a wonderful surprise. Other things can be someone is bringing something to your attention and you're like, oh my gosh, I was not expecting that. And how you respond starts with curiosity. So for this period of time, for a few days, just be curious as much as possible, because what importance is a relative thing. It really is. And I had a discussion last night that was like, oh, wow, okay, yes, importance is a relative thing. What I think is important is important to someone else in a completely different way. And That's something I just have to understand. And on the 8th, so that is a week from today, next Monday, it is exactly opposite. So it's like the day for the most open heart you can possibly have to have a conversation. And just think about it in those terms. Okay. Then it finishes up on the 9th. So again, just a few days, basically over the weekend. And at the same day, Jupiter stations retrograde. So it's like those conversations are part of opening your awareness, part of the tools you will need, that perception, that perspective that you need to move forward. Because there has been this growth in your awareness since mid-July that is going to be the what you need to take your life to the next level. And by the 9th, you will have it. And whatever you didn't get, quote, in your head is like, oh, I wish I would have learned that or known that. It's okay. It will come later. Okay. On the 11th, another big day. This is the day that Pluto's like, okay, people, time to level up. And what's kind of cool is the moon will cross over Pluto that day, giving it that extra, like, have to. All right, you're going to be motivated. And just know that you'll feel it that day. And you've got so much time. You have months for it to really play out like it did over like the first 4 months of this year. But remember that Pluto will move into Aquarius, like the ship leaves the harbor on November 19th. And so we kind of enter this new world of, all right, this is it. This is the new world. I'm leveled up. Um, Sometimes, in the early days, it's possible with the ship is leaving the harbor, like someone can get you in a speedboat and like get you over there, right? There's still like time after November 19th to like get on that ship and get others on that ship. But just know that things start moving on November 19th in that new world. Interestingly, on that same day, the sun is opposite Chiron. So Mercury was just opposite Chiron. Those conversations you had, you get to have some follow up almost right away. This is when it's helpful when like things happen boom, boom. It's like, oh, I can remember what we were actually talking about. But when there's this huge gap, it's like, oh man, what what were we even talking about? But this is the day, these are the days for follow up. So take notes on those conversations. And if there is something to be done in like coming around, notice that Pluto's moving forward. Maybe you're both coming around to a middle spot. Okay, we want to work together for sure. You brought something to my attention that I was like, I don't know. Or I said something to you and you were like, mm-mm. And, or it was like, oh my God, we had no idea we really wanted to work together. Let's do it. And we'll get going. And with Venus opposite the start of the Uranus portal, remember, you've been changing how you show up, especially since May. And this is that opportunity to appreciate how you have, that someone will appreciate. Appreciate doesn't mean like, right? Appreciate just means, okay, I'm taking that in now. I see it. I validate that. And being able to work with the new you. And so I think this is just this interesting combination of either if someone has been trying to step up in your team, a child is finally growing up and getting it. Like these are all ways this possibly shows up. Okay. And the sun opposite Chiron exactly on the, I can't, on the 13th. Possibly a good day to follow up an actual day to do something, especially if you have a tool at 21 degrees. And those of you who work with me know that you get these cards, and if there's a tool at 21 degrees, just know that that might be in play that day. And with Venus exactly opposite Uranus, like full appreciation of how that person has changed, or being really feeling their feelings, um, and they're feeling your feelings. It's really what that is, being sensitive to how the other one is feeling in that changed place. And then Venus finishes up being across from that portal. So, really, that second week is so much connection, all in the process of saying, we're all trying to get to the next level. And then the 16th, we meet again, is when the sun is opposite Chiron. So, doing something. So, it's those, I think it was 5 days of being able to like collaborate or come to some resolution, whatever it is. All right. So, Chloe, we always go back and I stop talking and you get to just watch the planets move. And that's always fun. You can watch Mercury and the sun start to move apart. You can see the moon speed around very quickly. But, like, for example, Mercury will start to zoom ahead and the sun just moves a degree a day. Okay, here we go. Okay. Phew. I know, right? So, the big things for these coming 2 weeks are, have your feelings been intensifying recently? Over the next 2 weeks, it may seem as though um, you've hit a tipping point. You get to decide that whatever you commit to is really worth it in the long run, because it will go to the edge and beyond. Bring curiosity into all of your one-to-one interactions. You might be surprised, and surprises don't have to be bad things. They can be wonderful. Just open your heart, just see what's there. And it's all okay. You have the awareness from that Jupiter portal, how you've grown your mindset since July. You have a presence that you have worked on since May. You show up differently. It's been going on for a little while, but the part since May is what you'll get to really integrate until February of next year, and then take it deeper and even steadier again in the early part of next year. And it's all to take your life to the next level. So just to recap, that Mars portal opens on Friday. Now, the reason I tell you it's going to go to the edge is because it moves into Leo. And this period of time when Mars is in Leo from November 2nd to January 6th, so encompassing some crucial dates here in the United States, it's when, think of it as taking a stand for what you bring to the table and making sure people receive it. Like, that's the energy for about 2 months. It's going to be an intense time. I'm not going to lie to you. Um, and and I think that we'll just have to see what it brings out in others, right? Standing up for what we believe in, what we know is right. And the good news is it will only go so far. And just like we hit that wall in August when we were trying to think through what we're good at and trying to make it better, like it will hit a wall and move back. And it's that time to say, whoa, that part won't escalate. So let's walk it back and say, what can we do? And that is the journey we'll all be on together for 7 months. Mercury, opposite the Chiron portal. So as the Mars portal opens, it's almost like, oh my God, did you hear about that? Blah, blah, blah. And then opening your awareness to like, did you think of this? Having these conversations. It can be good surprises. It's exact on the 8th. And the follow-up will be coming quite soon. But first, Jupiter here is at the very end of its little portal and will start moving backwards until February of next year to integrate everything you've learned. And Pluto starts moving forward. So it's been moving back since May 1st. So if you think back to how the world changed for you in January to April, how things really shifted, and the time from May until now has been like getting used to the idea of like, oh my God, things are changing. And now you are ready to go, say, okay, I actually have a sense of where things are going now. I can do something about it. And I'm going to be called to bring every bit of wisdom, every tool I have to do that. And then Venus, opposite the Uranus portal. What feelings are you picking up on from someone about how their presence has been restructured? And the same goes for you. How are your feelings being perceived by others? And appreciated, again, doesn't always mean like, all right? And finally, that follow-up we were talking about, you had the conversations. Now it's time to do something. From the 11th to the 16th, it's exact on the 13th, but you can see this gap here between Mercury and the Sun will just get bigger and bigger. So if you have a conversation and you think you're going to follow up the next day, give yourself a little grace. It's going to take time. Okay, it will just get harder and harder to follow up on the ideas. And there's nothing wrong with you. This is just that normal pulsation that happens. Okay, so you are at a tipping point. Just be clear about what is important to you in the long run. What are you willing to put your heart into for 7 months? And the process of leveling up your life permanently begins October 9th. And just remember that we're coming back to some old structures that we're trying to adapt to the new world. Do the best you can to get it by November 19th. But as you know, there's that little like wiggle room you've got to kind of catch up in the speedboat. And bring curiosity into all one-to-one relationships. Over the next 2 weeks, you may be surprised in a good way, in a not so pleasant way, by what is brought to your attention or how people respond to what you're bringing to their attention. And importance is all relative. So one last thing, I have decided to go back to doing some limited one-to-one coaching, mostly for relationships. I don't feel like I'm being called to do one-to-one natal chart readings anymore because I think there's so much good stuff out there. And my superpower is helping people understand relationships, helping people to just work with me in a very tight, limited container to like lay this out, like instant insight in, I'm going to say literally 30 minutes. And so much is revealed about how you interact with someone, how family dynamics are, how team dynamics are. And if this is of interest to you, if you're listening to the replay, just DM me on Instagram, just say collaboration, say connection, say whatever you want. But just know that this work excites me. I love it so much. And yeah, I'd love to talk to you. Okay, questions? There's a lot going on. Thanks, Chloe. Unmute. Feel free to unmute yourself. Yes.
I have a question. So at the first I think October 4th, you said that your intuition is insisting that your heart goes into something, but it's likely in the wrong direction. Can you explain a little bit more on what you meant by that?
So I'm going to go back and show that slide.
You were just on it, I think. That chart had that. Oh, you're doing this. I see.
Okay, we can do it here. Yeah. Okay, so the wrong direction is Pluto is way over here, asking you, demanding that you level up your life. And here you are putting your heart into something on the opposite side. And I can almost compare it to you don't want to leave something behind. The ship is leaving, and someone may be saying, why are you spending time on that? We're going, this is happening. And here you are, like putting your heart into something that is going to take some time to catch up, right? It's I've thought of it as, you're evacuating your house and you're trying to find your animals, and you got to go, but like you're going to cut it right down to the wire to do whatever you can to save what you love. And it's got to be that important to you. Okay. So in the things we see happening in the world, we want peace, and bombing seems to be the complete opposite of bringing peace. And importance is relative. So my heart hurts when I say that, but that's what I mean. Does that help, Krista?
I think a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the urgency and I guess getting rid of letting go of the things that aren't important so you can focus on what's really the matter
Yeah.
at hand.
So we're both entrepreneurs, and I have no idea if this is your situation. It is, I'm trying to build a business that serves the life that I want. If I have to go back and take a job, that feels like failure. It feels like moving in the opposite direction. I know a few people in this position where they are going to a corporate, like traditional looking situation, but aren't you trying to build your business? And it's like, no, this serves a purpose and I'm making it work for me. I'm not, it is either providing me the resources or the time or the like peace of mind, whatever it is. But on the surface, it looks like moving in the wrong direction. Does that help frame it a little differently?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Great question. I love it. Thank you. Chloe, we're such a tight little intimate group here. Although this will be on, it will be posted on YouTube. Any questions at all?
I don't think so. I'm just kind of thinking of different areas of my life right now, like personal relationships and work. So yeah, just trying to think of what needs to be left behind, I guess.
All right. Well, you guys, thank you for coming on a Tuesday and being flexible with my schedule. I will be back in 2 weeks. Always, you can reach me on Instagram, message me, whatever it is, if you need support. Okay. All right. Have a
good
great
day,
day, you
everyone.
guys.
Bye.
I hope you feel prepared to move as easily as possible over the next 2 weeks. Bring curiosity to your one-on-one relationships. You are about to embark on a major project over the next few months. So have fun and find hope and possibility. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.